Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I tried to freaking make this video earlier, and apparently, oh wow, like I'm doing right now. All right, hopefully we're recording. I've done record this video 3 freaking times now, and it's not recorded a video. All right, welcome back. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys how to fine-tune your gears and explain to you the myth of the final drive ratio. Okay, so we're gonna be using using the Diablo GTR. We're gonna start off in a quarter, we'll go to mile, jump down to half, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys. Basically, it doesn't matter what your final drive is. Okay, now this might be different. Actually, it is different in street drags, but for the test track, your final drive doesn't matter as long as you're not in the mile. The mile, it matters to a point to where you can have your final drive so towards acceleration that, you know, you'll top out in your 6th gear. But for the quarter and the half, especially the quarter, it does not matter at all. The numbers on your gearing don't matter as well. So we're gonna reset here. And we're just going to see what she does. All right. The first thing you need to do, which I said this many times before, see what the car does with no tune. Okay. You put all the parts on it. Now we're just going to see what she does. I have short-term memory loss, so let me make sure that I actually reset this tune to default. Okay. Just making sure. Run it back one more time because I actually hit the rev limiter 2 times. But you can see, obviously, it's way too many gears. Excuse me. Way too many gears. You don't want 5 gears in a quarter. You want 3 or 4. This car actually should do a 520, 524, I believe, right out the box. Let's run that back real quick. Close enough. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the wrong thing to do. All right, this is what most people do. What I'm about to show you. You've probably done this yourself. So here's what I'm going to do. Here, let's see. I'm just gonna fix this. Put this at 0 because I'm sure most people probably know to put that at 0 or whatever. I'm sure they're gonna see speed, so you're gonna put it to speed, right? Do this. Right. Now. I guess we'll Let's move this. Let's say they move this, right? Let's say they want 5 gears. So we're just gonna move the final drive. A bit slower. I actually don't know what most people will do. Maybe they would move their 6th gear or their 5th gear in, or move their gears. I think most people will just move their final drive and just run it. Put it back to 403. Anyway, alright, so here, okay. And when I'm doing gears, I literally I don't even look at the numbers, I just straight up look at the graph down there. We're just gonna run this back again, right? See if we can at least like get the same time or beat our time. Okay. That felt good, looked good. So, I guess we're done, right? Let's go see what it does on a mile. Alright. No, actually, hold on. Before we go to the mile, let me show you something here. I'm sure what people do in the mile. If you don't know how to get the mile going, look, let's just go ahead and show you. Might as well. Pretty simple. Once you got your gears done for the quarter, go on the mile, and you just want your final gear to be over the finish line, in the red line, deep, okay? Every time, no matter it's a quarter, it's the half, or the mile. What I'm about to show you after this, I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter what numbers we have for the final gear ratio. It does not matter what that number is. It could be 220, 230, 240, 250, 253, 410. Doesn't matter what it is. We can get the exact same times with any gear ratio. That's what I'm going to prove to you. Assuming we're going to top out, yeah. I don't think we're going to make it. I didn't think so. So let's fix that real quick. There, fix that 5th gear. So when you're doing your gears, you want the gears, the space. You're looking at the space on the graph on the bottom left. You want the space between each gear to be perfectly even. Okay, the exception is going to be most of the time, or not most of the time, or a lot of times, actually you can see right there, a lot of times the gears are going to be closer the higher gear you're into. You see how the spacing between my first, second, third, and fourth are the distance is all the same, but then the distance between 4th and 5th and 6th is a shorter distance, but the distance is even between all the spaces. That's what you want to do. There's always going to be exceptions to everything, but that's what you want to do 99% of the time. Hopefully I actually get a full throttle launch. I was checking to make sure it was recording, and I barely hit the gas for the last second. That's a pretty good. That was a pretty decent launch or run, I guess. So 236. So now you're probably thinking, okay, well I'm done, right? I did 19,230, 524. We're good, right? I can actually probably go one more click in 6. You know, you want your car almost pegging the rev limiter as you're going over the line. Okay, now let's go back to the quarter. So now I'm going to show you something else real quick. I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes if we can. Okay, so we know we do a 524, right? So we know we do a 524. Now, how do we know a 3 gear isn't better than a 4 gear? Well, if you want to find that out, all you do, take your 3rd gear. This be the only time you use the numbers. Take your 3rd gear and you put it to the exact same number as your 4th. And we're doing that because we know that our 4th gear goes right over the line. Okay? And now we just take our 2nd gear, we look back down at our graph on the bottom left, and you make that 2nd gear spacing between 1st and 3rd, so the space between each gear is even. Just like that. I can actually go a little longer on 2nd, but let's just see what happens. Now, if we run the same time, or we match, I'm sorry, it's the same thing. If we match our time, or we go faster, then we know it can run a 3-speed. If we go way slower, then we know it can't. Okay, went way slower, but you notice the RPMs going into 2nd gear dropped way below 7,000 RPMs. So most of the time, you want, depending on where your red line is, for this car, you know, it's a little over 9,000. You want, you only want your RPMs to drop, you know, a couple thousand RPMs to maybe 2,500, 2,700, 2,600, something like that. You don't want it dropping more than $3,000 between each shifts. And it really depends on how light the car is. I mean, there's always exceptions. Like the 66 Porsche only runs 4 gears in the entire mile. So, you know, it's going to be different. Same thing with the Alpha 33. The Alpha 33, the longer gears are going to drop further down when you go RPMs when you go into each gear. But all for your first gear, for your launch, the main thing is what RPM do you launch at? You want to get your first gear launching a couple thousand RPMs before red line. Okay? And an easy way to start that is just move your first gear to acceleration. Like we got really lucky with this car. This car is like the first gear with the final, with the drag tires and everything. Like this car is like almost spot on already, which is crazy. But I want to back this 2nd gear up just a tad, and this 3rd one click. I want to see if we can get a better hit. If we don't, then we'll switch it back to a 4-speed. I actually think the first gear is actually too long. That's close. Too short, I mean. Our first gear can actually go more towards top speed. I actually think this can run a 3-speed in a quarter, as far as how it's tuned right now. But I'm not trying to dial in this right here, because I'm going to dial this in a different way. Let's just go one more time. We're going to a little bit top speed, because we were launching at 8,000, so we want to get it down to about 7,000, And that'll let us a couple more clicks back in second. And one thing I probably should have told you in the beginning, which you should know by now when you're in drag, always have your freaking traction control off. Just copy these right here. Alright, if you want to know about shifting, what you should use, I got a video about that in my tuning guide playlist. It's literally titled what drivetrain, or should you use manual or manual with clutch. It's a whole guide, whole entire guide about when it's proper time to use each one of those. Okay, there we go. As you can see, we haven't only touched the suspension, but just getting the gears right, the launch right, we've been able to match the time that we did with the 4-speed, and we did an insane wheelie right there. Normally, what's going to happen is your car is going to be, you're going to run the default, and it's probably going to have way too much acceleration, right? It's going to be all over the place. This car is, I'm surprised at how easy this car is. But remember, all you do, it doesn't matter what your final drive is, when you get the car in its default, all you're going to do is you're going to move your first gear until your car is launching 2,000 to 2,500 RPMs after it takes off, okay? That's it. From redline. Watch. I want you to watch my RPMs, okay? Another thing, you don't have to hold the clutch down when you're in drag mode. You just hold the gas down. I heard people holding the clutch down too. Don't do that. Okay, y'all see, when it launched, it let me go. My RPMs went down to 7,000 RPMs. The car spun, and when it started to hook up, it hooked up at about 7,500. Let's watch that one more time. Watch my RPMs. This is what you're looking for in every single car that you're going to launch when you're just holding the gas down, full throttle launch. Saw that? Now, it doesn't mean that every car is going to launch at 7. That depends on the rev limiter. Now, this engine, this is the V12, the 6th, what is it? Yeah, the 6.2. 6.2? Wait, did I forget? I haven't played this game in so long. Forgot how to play the game. 6.0. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, I was thinking of the LS, but this, or I don't even know what I'm thinking. But anyway, the V12, yeah, it's basically going to be like that with every single car. Once you learn what engines you're putting in, you learn all the engines, you'll know that, okay, I got the V12, I need to be launching my car in between 7,000 and 7,500. If I'm in this engine, I need to be launching at this RPM, blah, blah, blah. It's the same for every engine, no matter what car you're in, whatever engine you're in, you know what I'm saying? If every car you put this engine in, you're going to do the same exact thing, etc., etc. All right, so now let me show you guys this. So, you've seen that we've ran the same time in a 3-gear and a 4-gear. Now let's just move this final drive to whatever. Let's do what's the street gear? I know a 290 is a street gear. I know a 373. Let's do a 373. So we're gonna do 373. All right. I want to put it back to a 4-speed. It's because even though we did the 524 and a 3-speed, I actually feel like it's a little quicker with the 4-gear. Not quicker, but it seems like it's a little more smooth, maybe. Let's try that. Another thing, remember our time from the mile was a 19,236. We'll go back and we will turn it into a 5-speed and see if it goes faster. But first, let's see what happens here. Now watch our RPMs. already close. We're already close. It launched and grabbed at 7,000. So what that tells us is we can add a little acceleration to your first gear. Fourth gear was slightly long. You know, we weren't buried in the RPMs because we made our final drive longer. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna add some acceleration. So let's add some acceleration to first, about maybe 6 clicks, I think. I was looking at the graph. Bring fourth back about, let's just say 1, 2, 3 clicks. Even out those gears. And remember, you want the gears even because you want the RPMs dropping the same amount every time. So it gives you more acceleration. It's because it's smoother. Even faster. Now I'm gonna go back and show you that we can do a 508 with a 403 gear. It literally doesn't matter though. I can still shorten my fourth up some more. But you see there? I beat it. So now I'm going to go back to a 403 to prove to you that we can get a 508. Let's see. We have 373. I'm looking at the graph, see where my things are on the graph. Alright, let's see if this works. 508. Could have been because I launched really straight. A little much on the acceleration in first. 508. There you go. So the 508 with the 373, the 508 with the 403. It literally doesn't matter. It just matters about the RPM you take off and the spacing between the gears. The numbers don't mean jack. Alright, let me show you one more thing because this video is getting kind of long. So now you might say, okay, well I'm done, right? Well, I guess we could go back to the mile and see what it does in a mile, because before we were 6 gears. Y'all want to see that? Alright. Let's just I want to show you something else, but I want to show you how I actually dial stuff in, but so we got to go back and check here because we want to make this a 5-speed. So let's just go ahead and move our 5th to where our 6th is. Again, this is the only time we're going to be using the numbers. So we just made our 5th the same as our 6th, so we know our 6th is going to cross the line. And now, again, we are just going to even the gears out, the spacing, as best we can. Remember, and here's if you have the spacing perfectly even, but your RPMs are dropping too low between each shift because, you know, it's you know, they're going too low, the gap's too big between each gear, then go ahead and shorten them all up. It's okay. If it's okay if like your 4th is a little shorter than your 5th, right? Because you don't want to be dropping too low of RPM, because you won't be pulling as hard. Is what I was trying to say. All right, this is a 5-speed. So we did 19,236. If our 5th gear is right, we should go faster straight up because we have one less shift. You know, some cars like 6, some like 5. It's just, you just gotta test it. See, I can actually, I still think we can go shorter or longer in first gear. I think first is a little too short. And fifth is gonna be too long. Slightly. A little slower. A little slower, but I think our gears aren't properly spaced out correctly. And our first gear is a little too crazy. Fifth gear is a little too long. So we're gonna go back 2 clicks on fifth. And go back to up 2 clicks on first. Respace out the middle gears. We want it screaming. This motor pulls. Let's go back 1, 2. Let's go 3. Let's go 1, 2, 3, and then let's go for speed. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go 8. And then let's respace. It looks fine. Let's see what she does. Get a straighter launch here. I like this car. I can't tell if I bounced second gear or not. Alright, this might be a good run. We don't top out. Oh. Okay, so we topped out. Still did a 253. That's 1 off our other time. So we can go 1 more click in 6. Let's go 1 more click. I forgot to pay attention to first gear, so I wasn't sure if how good it was. It felt alright. And it's the same thing with the half. For the half, all we would do, let's go 1 more here. And let's just go 1 more on everything. Let's see what happens. Now, while you're doing the mile, here's what you can do. Pay attention to where your RPMs are and what gear or whatever for the half mile. So you can see if you're really close to 4th, you might be able to just stretch 4th out. It run 4 gears in half. If it's far away, then you need to pull back 5th. Good wheelie, but a little crooked. That wasn't really a good launch, but let's just see what it does. Okay, so we're real far away from the half. So this is going to be a 5-gear half car. We push 5th back once, which should be good. Okay, we ran the same time, but I didn't get that good of a launch. But it will do a 219 with the 5-speed with no tune on it for sure. I can sit here, keep clicking, I'll get it for sure. But I want to show you something else. I'm sure you get the idea. So now, same thing. I'm going to go to the half mile. Five gears will be faster on the mile. You just have to keep chipping away, watching your RPMs, chipping away. You know, make sure that the shifts and everything are perfect. Now, we know we're going to have to bring 5th back a lot, so now we could try stretching 4th, but I think the gear is going to be a little too long. So let's just bring 5th back. It's going to put us definitely in a 4-speed for the quarter. stretching them out made it turned it into a 3-speed quarter. Which you don't have to have a tune for every single layout. You know, you could have a tune that's good for the quarter and mile, and then run your quarter. You know, see which one of those do the best time. Or you can have a tune for everything. Let me look at this first gear again. Watch my RPMs. Okay, yeah, we're actually way. We can still go top speed on that first gear. Okay, there you go. Almost perfect with me. It might take you guys a few tries. I don't know. I guess good because I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. 8, 9, 20. Yeah, 3 years, man. Game's been out for a while. All right. Now, most of you, and when I say you, no offense, but most people are gonna be done. They're like, I'm done, right? I got it dialed in. Car's good. Well, let me show you how to take it to the next step. Now what we're going to do is tune the suspension. And I already have suspension guides. I have guides to do this. I'm just going to show you real quick with this car, right? Because the grip and stuff has changed, but I'm doing the same stuff. Always this. This is like basic, right? Alright. If your car's pulling hard to the left, all the way up in the front, all the way down in the rear. If it's not pulling hard, you can go 40-40. Alright? Now, your front spring is going to lower your top speed the more front spring you have in drag. So, get rid of it. Now, what we're going to be looking for is what happens to first gear when we just changed our front spring. Two things are going to happen. One of two things. It's either going to bog out, as in RPMs are going to launch really low, or it's going to try to do a backflip. Okay, backflip. So we did a backflip. Go to our rebound. We max our rebound out. Okay? Now, imagine the rebound is like a fine tuning of your front spring. It does the exact same thing, except it does it way less. So now we're going to do this again, see what happens. If it still backflips, then we come back to our front spring and start adding front spring until it doesn't backflip anymore. Stayed on the ground. Now we're going to give it the wheelie. Okay, here's how you give it. Here's how you give it the wheelie. What we're gonna do here, basically, so this car at default is a 6.6. Literally, all you want to do, take your front bump. You want to match it, right? And then 4.4. You want to take about roughly, I'm going to say 8 to 10 clicks out of your rear bump. So let's go to 3.4. Alright. And then we know we didn't, let's go ahead and test that. Now we know we didn't do a huge wheelie with 13 rebounds, so I already know that I need to cut some rebound out. But let me just show you what this did right here. Probably didn't look like much, but I can tell it launched a lot smoother. Now I'm gonna let's just cut about, let me go down to 8.0. Let's just see what happens. And what we're looking for here, we want it to do a wheelie in first gear, okay? We want it to do a wheelie all the way through entire first gear. And then when we shift in second, we want it to float down, okay? And if it's a car that likes a 2-gear wheelie, if it likes a 2-gear wheelie, it will stay up in second gear. And what we'll do is we will readjust second gear to where it floats down instead of flipping our slams really hard. And we may have to adjust first gear. If you can't find a balance in first, then that's like by moving your rebound, that's when we'll start messing with our first gear again. Once we get the rebound to where it can do a full wheelie standing all the way up without sparking out or flipping and anything like that. Okay, you see how we're still see what happened there? We came up all the way, but then we went into second. It went mental. Let's do that one more time. Okay, now I'm gonna do it one more time again. I'm just gonna let it hit the rev limiter in first because I want to see if it's gonna flip in first. Because we know we're flipping in second, but now we want to see if we're gonna be flipping going into first. Okay, we didn't flip, so that first is perfect. Now, if we can't balance second without flipping, by changing our rebound, then we'll put it back to where it was right here, and we'll go and start messing with first gear, and I'll show you. So at this point, what you want to do, you want to save your tune. Okay, I already had one saved right here because I did this earlier, and for some reason I use a 3.0 USB to record, and it records an hour at a time, and it was just dropping off every 2 minutes, and it was really annoying, and I didn't notice it. So all right, so since we know our first gear is fine, let's see how much we can put our rebound back towards stiffness without affecting how far it comes up in first gear. So I'm just going to add about 6 to that. If we get the same first gear, we might get lucky, and when we go into second gear is fine. If not, we'll bring it back down. We can try readjusting second gear before we adjust our first, because our first is perfect. That was all right, but it's that good. So we're gonna just keep messing with it. And when you're doing this, don't make an adjustment because of what it did one run. You know, run it a few times and see what it does, because you might have the thing and just didn't get a proper launch, and then now you're changing it and you don't even know, you know, one more run and it would have done what you wanted it to do. Okay, do you see how you're shifting in a second? It's like floating down, but it's not staying up in second for as long as it could. Now I know that because you can, when I shift in a second, you can see it kind of falls fast. But before when it was scraping and we went into second, it was staying up the whole time. So we want to try to get it to stay up without it falling down and scraping. I mean, we want to get it to stay up without it backflipping or sparking, right? So now we know 8.0 is perfect for first. 8.6 is not enough for second. So now we're just gonna split the difference. Let's go to 8.3. Let's see what second gear does. much. Still too much. So we'll try 8.4. And if we can't get it to float second with rebound, we're going to adjust our second gear by just making it just a touch longer. Let's try 8.4. Woo! I like that. You saw that, how it stood back up again? There you go. Already in the fourth. That's it. And you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. And when you get something better, you save it. You save that freaking tune, so when you mess it up, you can come back and start over. So at this point, what I would do is I would just start fine tweaking the gears. Like go a click here, go a click there, and just watch what it's doing. Get the spacing perfect. You might be able to get it to launch harder by adding more acceleration to first gear. You might be able to get it to wheelie longer by going back down a rebound and going up a click on second. Now, I didn't say anything about the rear spring, because this rear spring was fine on this. Okay, but most of the time, you're going to want your rear spring in the middle. See where it's kind of in the middle? Like, I'm not looking at the number, I'm looking at the bar. In the between, give or take the middle. Okay, so this car, I didn't even touch it because it was already kind of in the middle. But let me show you what happens if you have too much and then too little. Now, the game didn't used to be like this, but because there's so much grip, a lot of cars, you don't even have to tune your rear spring anymore. You just leave them stock. And see how that added a ridiculous amount of grip in the second gear? How we just flipped like right away, going into second gear. And this, we're taking all the grip out with this. But the middle, you know, things get a little different when you're doing cars like the Vega or the 906 Porsche, or those little tiny muscle cars that are insane, like the Escort. Okay, do you see how with no rear spring, it just dug in immediately? It dug in immediately and instantly wheelied. You don't want that. What you're looking for, you want your car to take off and spin first. You want to spin first, and then you want it to pick it up. If you're just shooting a wheelie immediately right when you're getting out the hole, your spring is way too soft. Way too soft. So your rear spring is controlling the amount of spin that your car does and when it grips up. Now, a lot of other things do that. Everything plays a role, right? This is just the order that I do my stuff in. Only other thing, which I think I mentioned this a long time ago, is I do my alignment last. So now that we got it dialed in, when you come to your alignment and you move it all the way to front negative and look at your benchmark. Then first off, this benchmark right here, I should have told you this in the beginning as well. Don't use the benchmark. The acceleration in the quarter mile, look, we're doing 7 forwards and it says my quarter mile is at 8.7. The only thing that this is good for is your top speed, okay? The top speed is going to be whatever your last gear is. So if you have your top speed, like if you have your 6th gear all the way like this, but you're only a 5 speed, see, it's not going to be true. You know, so what you do is you put it the same as your last gear and then go 1 click forward. And that's going to show you your true top speed, okay? But anyway, the 0 to 60, 0 to 100 quarter mile, that's garbage. Don't look at it. It means nothing. The only time you use it is when you're tweaking your roll bars or your alignment, okay? Or if you're in an all-wheel drive, or your aerodynamics. If you're all-wheel drive, when you're tuning your your torque split, sometimes it works. But this is what we're doing. So we went full negative. It changed nothing. So we go full positive. Change nothing. So if we have a change, a good change, even though the numbers are going to be wrong, most likely if it comes from the alignment, it's going to be telling the truth. And we can do the same thing here. If we get a good change, we have no change. Which for your front toe, you don't want to go more than 08. Either negative 08 or positive 08. You don't want to go any more than that. You only want to have front camber, either max front camber, negative or positive, doesn't matter. Or same as I said for the toe. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys learned something from this. If you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, that'll be it. Take it easy. Catch you on the next one.